Next up on the list for Jackson State University is FAMU. The preseason favorite in everything. The preseason favorite to win the SWAC, the preseason favorite to have the player of the year, all these preseason SWAC, all SWAC performers, okay? FAMU. Everybody's picking FAMU to take the crown from Jackson State University. All right. So this year's Orange Blossom Classic looks like it ought to be interesting. Okay. Ought to be interesting. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. All right. But before we do, I need y'all to do something for me. I need y'all to hit that subscribe button. Okay. Because this is the realest, most entertaining sports show in the game. Put it on something. Okay. I am your homeboy first. And like I said, please hit that subscribe button. Share to all your people, okay? So they can be a part of this movement as well. Okay, join the channel, become one of the realest ones, and feel free to contribute via Cashapp or Super Thanks. Whatever you give helps us as we continue our ascension to become the one-stop shop for all of Black culture. Okay, well, let's go ahead and get into it. Like I told you, FAMU is highly thought of going into this season. Okay, they were the preseason number 25 team in all of FCS football. Okay, that's in the coaches poll. Okay, they were the preseason SWAC favorite, as I alluded to. The preseason offensive player of the year that I spoke of, that's their quarterback, Jeremy Mosa. Okay, I may be mispronouncing the young king's name. I apologize. Okay, but they had several other individuals who were selected as preseason All SWAC first team performers. That was Mr. Goss, he's an offensive lineman. Mr. Colvin, offensive lineman. Mr. Sherrod, wide receiver. Mr. Major, linebacker. Mr. Morgan, defensive back. Mr. Bowler, defensive back. And then they got some more folks on the second team, okay? Mr. Marcus Riley, wide receiver. Mr. Kamari Young, tight end. Mr. Gentle Hunt, defensive lineman, okay? So in terms of preseason accolades, folks were all over FAMU. In comparison, Jackson State University only had one preseason All SWAC selection. That was tight end DJ Stevens. Now, if you watch the game with Jackson State versus South Carolina State, you may say, somebody lying, somebody wrong. I'm just telling you, before they kicked that ball off, this is what was being said. Okay? This is what was being said. All right. In terms of last year's SWAC rankings, FAMU was 5th in points per game with 25.5 points per game. They were 4th in scoring defense with 22.9, giving up 22.9 points per game. They were 2nd in passing, going for 258.2 yards, but they were dead last in rushing, okay? Only rushing for 1,044 yards. And we know some backs in the SWAC had more by themselves than that. So at least last year they relied almost exclusively on the passing game, okay? In terms of the matchups, most recent matchups between Jackson State and FAMU, we know last year was a demolition. It was a debacle if you are a FAMU fan. It was a thrashing if you were a Jackson State fan, okay? 59-3 was the score. 59-3, okay? Stop the motherfucking fight. All right. I'm talking about Jackson State put up 7 in the first, 17 in the second, 21 in the third, and another 14 in the fourth. And all that FAMU could muster was 3 in the second quarter, okay? In terms of statistics, Mr. Musa, again, who's a preseason offensive player of the year, and went on to have a great season after playing Jackson State last year. But in the Jackson State game last year, the young man went 11 for 27, 102 yards, and an interception. Okay. Now, a year of growth, we don't know. All right. Maybe he's different. Okay. We know that the Jackson State team is different. A whole lot of different players. But based off the game versus South Carolina State, seems like it's that same good old defense. All right, guys flying around making plays. Okay. But we won't know until everybody, get on that field. That's when we'll know for real what the business is. Okay. Also in last year's game, in terms of the running game, I mean, they really couldn't get anything going, and most teams couldn't get much going against Jackson on the ground last year. Okay, but their leading rush only ran for 30 yards last year on 8 carries, 3.8 yards per carry. I mean, it was just, I don't know what else to say. It was a thrashing. All right. But that was last year. The year before that, in 2021, the game was much closer. Okay. It was, if you like old school, rugged defense, defensive football, then this was a wet dream for you. Okay. This was porn for you, if that's the kind of football you love. Okay. That score was 7-6. Again, Jack State won. All right. FAMU only mustered 2 field goals, one in the first, one in the second. Jackson State only got 1 touchdown or in an extra point, and that came in the second quarter. And that was it for the scoring. That was a wrap for the scoring. All right. In that game, Mr. Musa wasn't the quarterback yet. They had Mr. Mackey or McKay. Okay. He only threw for 78 yards on 18 of 29. So in the previous 2 meetings, FAMU has not been able to get their rocks off through the air against Jackson State's defense. Okay. Now in this game, they fared better on the ground. They had a brother by the name of Mr. Bunnett, went for 76 yards on 15 carries. They had another young king, Mr. Jennings. He went for 35 yards on 7 carries, okay, for 5 a clip. They had another young man go for 13 yards on 2 carries, 6.5 a clip, okay. So they were able to get a few things done on the ground in 2021. But through the air in both years, wasn't happening. And we see in Jackson State's game against South Carolina State, nothing was happening for them through the air. Okay, so we'll see. We shall see. Is it going to be preseason hype or is it going to be, or well, I should say, is the preseason hype for FAMU going to prove to be true? Or is what TC Taylor said gonna prove to be true in terms of these folks in the preseason don't know what the fuck they talking about? He didn't say that first, said that. What he said was they don't know. They don't know. And I just added on my little part. They don't know what the fuck they talking about. We gonna see. Okay. We gonna see. The biggest paper here in the state of Mississippi, the Clarion Ledger, had Jackson State picked to lose against South Carolina State. See how that turned out. Okay. If you missed my reaction to the South Carolina State game, make sure you go check that out. Okay. Make sure you check that out and check out all segments and put it on something. But in terms of the FAMU game, this is what they have to say. Okay. Again, this is from the Clarion Ledger. It reads, Jackson State has dominated Florida A&M the past 2 seasons, holding the Rattlers without a touchdown. A&M is the favorite to win the East Division this season and looking for revenge. The Rattlers are too explosive as the heat wears down JSU. The prediction, Florida A&M 42, Jackson State 28. So they expect Florida FAMU to put up 42 points on the defense that y'all saw against South Carolina State. We shall see. We shall see. It's a big jump, y'all. For them to go from scoring 6 points to 3 points, hop on up there to 42. We're going to see. New teams, new players. Okay? Will it be more of the same? If you're down with Jackson State University like I am, you sure hope so. But again, we won't know till they get behind, get in between them lines. I can't wait. Put it on some.
Please subscribe to my daddy's YouTube channel because the more subscribers he gets, the more attractive he looks to sponsors. The more attractive he looks to sponsors, the more money he can make. And the more money he can make, the more money he can spend on me.